Good morning, hope everyone's had a lovely week. We're back down the allotment. It's a bit noisier down here today. There's people doing rotivating, there's a few of closer neighbours who are digging and stuff like that, because it's the first bit of dry weather we've had in the whole week, I think. No, maybe Thursday was a bit sunny, but when you're at work you can't get down here anyway, can you? But yeah, hope everyone's alright, hope everyone's had a really good week. Thanks everyone for jumping in the comments on last weekend's video. What have we got planned today? First of all, I want to share with you a load of stuff that I received on my Amazon wish list from the people in this community. I had so much come through this week, but I thought instead of putting a post up individually, I filmed it when I was at home, but I'll just show you the stuff which people have sent me. We'll go through that, and then I'll show you some hydroponics, and then I'll show you what the growing planting schedule is for the coming year, because I've actually managed to sit down and do that. I've done that before I sat down and planned the sections of this plot, which we can do this week. Some of the items which I received off my Amazon wish list we're going to get set up and put up today, which I'm really excited about. And then after that, I'm going to plant out my peppers, which we'll discuss in a minute as well. So basically, I'm going to jump forwards whilst going backwards to when I was at home before I come down here. Does that make sense? There's far too many things here to post them individually. If you heard that bang, that's one of the cats with the zoomies, unfortunately. The same cat which knocked me over when I went to work. But I'll tell you about that in the challenge on Tuesday. Anyway, I've had so much stuff off my Amazon wish list from the people in the community. I don't want to share everyone's name who sent me something out of respect for privacy. I say a massive thank you. I'm honestly, Vicky, every time something turns up, Vicky's like, what is going on? But I really appreciate it. So I thought I'd just go through and show you some of the stuff. Got some hooks, some really sturdy metal hooks to hang our tools on. Get these put up today down the allotment. I've got a Mungo sprouting bowl, which we put on the windowsill, and we can do our sprouts. Is it just called sprouts? Sprouting seeds. And there's a big pack here, so there's a variety pack. So we're going to try that out, get some more sprout, because sprouting greens are really good for you, and they're quite nice to have over salads and stuff like that. So here's the ones which came with it. I was well impressed with the amount you get as well. There's loads. So there's alfalfa. Is Vicky's up pronounced alfalfa? Alfalfa.
I have no idea. I'm sorry.
Alfalfa. Alfalfa. Come on now. I can't even say my own name properly. Broccoli. I'm just going to call that broccoli. Radish volcano. You get loads of seeds in there, so we're going to give them all a good try. Some red cabbage. Your good old standard cress. Red kale. Did we just have a red kale? No, we had radish. Peas and rapini, also known as broccoli rab. It actually tells you a little bit about them. Sorry, let's go through that. I'll rush through that. Sweet and tender flavour, a classic garnish for many dishes. Also known as broccoli rab, is related to turnip and has a mild nutty flavour. Well, I absolutely love turnip, so that sounds interesting. Pink stems and dark green leaves with a mild flavour. This brassica variety is an especially good source of antioxidants, vitamins, potassium and calcium. Oh, that's a good one. Cress, an iconic microgreen, blends perfectly with anything from sandwiches to smoothies. Red cabbage sprouts contain a much higher Jesus Christ. Red cabbage sprouts contain a much higher concentration of vitamin K and C compared to mature red cabbage. Didn't know that, did you, Vic? No. This is early in the morning and Vicky's just woken up and she's sat there watching me waffling into a camera. Radish volcano. Unique purple leaves with occasional green leaves, provides a pleasant peppery boost similar to that of root radishes. The broccoli Broccoli has one of the highest levels of sulfur. Vicky, come here, please.
That's why I did the reading.
That's why you do the reading on those unboxings.
Yeah.
What's that say? How do you say it? Sorry, I know what it says, but how do you say it?
Sulforaphane.
So there you go.
Sulforaphane.
Of any food, particularly at the sprout and microgreen stage. Lord. Oh, no, yeah, standard.
That's alfalfa.
That is alfalfa. Add fresh, sweet alfalfa sprouts to daily meals as a healthy component to balanced diet. Wowzers. We got through it, guys. I've got to go down the allotment and read the chapter of the Dig for Victory book.
Oh, no.
And I've got a bad feeling about this chapter. And it came with a little serving. So a white smoothie. Serves to, Vicky, let me know if you like the sound of this. 2 tablespoons of ground almonds, 2 red apples, cored and chopped, 2 bananas peeled and frozen. Oh no, you won't. I already know this. Peanut butter. No. Half a cup of alfalfa sprouts, half a cup of coconut milk, a 1/4 cup of ground cinnamon, and half a cup of ice is optional. Blend all the ingredients to desired consistency. I like the sound of that. But yeah, that coconut peanut butter is not your jam, is it? Jam. I also got a solar motion sensor light. So it will come on when you're moving around. We'll set this up. I don't know if I'm going to set all this up today. I've got quite a bit planned. Priority is going to be doing the tool rack so we can clear out some of the bits in the shed. And I need to get on and plant some pepper seeds. Peppers need a really long head start if we're going to get a decent crop out of them. I mean, a lot of people do them around Christmas time, and I've been a bit behind on it, but it doesn't matter. It's not the end of the world. A load of parchment paper, some potato grow bags. These are really strong and firm. We'll open these ones up because they're vacuum sealed, but we'll open them up down the allotment and have a look. But I think that's going to be a good way of having some of our potato crop. Instead of having them in the ground taking up space, just frees up more space. And if there's a frost when we put them in, we can move them into the shed, you see. So that kind of makes a lot more sense to me. A window bird feeder, the one I was actually on about wanting to pick up. So we can actually, I'll show Chai this and he's really impressed. So what I might do is wait for a day when Chai comes down and he can set this up himself and put the feed in it. But yeah, so there's a bird feeder which sticks on the window so that we can view Mr. Robin. Some Stay Fresh longer bags. So these are designed for storing your veg. So you put your veg in there and then it comes with some clips and then you tie them up. Now it looks like a normal plastic bag, doesn't it? I'm curious to try these, but they absorb gases from fruit and vegetables, which keeps fresher for longer and reduces food waste. Apparently you can store them up to a month. They allow food to breathe, thus maintaining ideal conditions for storing fresh fruit and vegetables. A very porous, entirely safe and natural Japanese stone powder is suspended in the polythene film. This absorbs the ethylene gas present in most fruit and vegetables and therefore increases the storage life. The surface is treated to prevent moisture and bacteria from forming. Fruit and vegetables should be fresh and in good condition. Wash raw fruit and vegetables and dry thoroughly. Place fruit or vegetables inside the Stay Fresh bag. Remove excess air and seal. Store it in or out the fridge. Do not store strong smelling produce in the same bag. Keep root vegetables, leafy vegetables and fruits separate. Do not store food in Stay Fresh bags for longer than 1 month. We're going to try these out. I'm going to get some berries and stuff. Next time I get some berries, we're going to stick them in here. We'll stick some, no, because I don't want to waste the food. I was going to do a comparison thing where I put some in these bags and left the others to see how long they last, but that sounds a bit wasteful. We'll just run it and see if they actually last up to a month. We'll do that. I said it out loud and it didn't feel very good about letting something go to waste just to prove a point. Cheesecloths, which are going to be fantastic. So thank you for sending me them. These are very important, and I know I haven't showed you guys my hydroponics, which I'll go show you in a minute, but extra plugs, loads of them, very handy in the run up to spring, because when I start doing some of my veg to go out down the allotment, that hydroponic system will be in full flow. At the moment, it's got rainbow chard in it, and the rainbow chard's not doing very well because it's cold and we don't have, I mean, it's getting enough light from that system, but it's in the kitchen, which is the only place I feel comfortable storing the water hydroponic system. They're growing, I'll show you, but they're not growing quick. And then someone sent me some lovely preserving jars, Kilner jars. I swear by Kilner jars. I just think they're really good. They last forever as well, as long as you look after them. I like the fact that they come with, and you can buy replacements for these as well, which is really handy. They come with little notes and sticker to go on the front. They didn't just send me one though. They thought if they were going to send me one, they might as well send me 5, which was really kind. I saw your little note. I really appreciated that. Thank you. I've also got a massive chimichanga solar panel, which I'm not going to get out of the box now. But that huge solar panel, I'm going to probably treat myself at some point to the Jackery battery. So it's like a battery generator. So you basically can plug stuff into it and then you can charge it off of solar, and it can actually have mains plug stuff plugged into it as well as charging phones and stuff like that. Just very handy for down the allotment, out and about and stuff like that. So I'm probably going to treat myself to one of them. A little bit of an investment, but now I've got a solar panel, I've got an excuse to get one. This wasn't sent to me. This is what I picked up from a charity shop. It says a label on there. It's on Cats Protection. It was £3. I just love it because look, it's all quirky and weird shaped, and even the top of it's all like funky. It does say on here 24 quid, which is mad. There's candle safety. So I'm wondering if people stuck candles in there. But it's glass. And I said to Shire we could make a terrarium. I did get one of these for Christmas from a family member. I was going to make that into a terrarium, which I'll probably do a little micro one with moss in it. But this one here, look, is absolutely huge. So that's another plan. If anyone's done one of them, because I've just jumped onto some Facebook groups to follow to get some advice and stuff, because Shire's dead keen to do it, and so am I, if I'm honest. But what's the best way of sealing up the top of this so that it's completely sealed, but you can take it on and off for maintenance? Or do you just leave it? I don't know. But yeah, so it's got like a weird lip on it as well, but it's not the same shape all the way around, Vic. It's really cool though. Another thing I toyed about doing, Vic, was having shrimp in it. So filling it with water and having little tiny candy shrimp. So you just get a filter. Don't worry, it's not going to be a slippery slope to having fish. We've had fish before and it was a... Oh Christ, I put so much money and time into those fish, didn't I? And then one day come down and the entire tank had wiped out.
Yeah, I know. It does it for the kids.
Yeah, and the kids come downstairs and had to have a chat about death and everything. It was awful. It just wiped overnight. But I like the idea of having a little bit of sand in the bottom there, a little bit of vegetation, and just having tiny shrimp and having a little shrimp system. Because look, that'd be amazing, you know. I'd sit there and watch them all day, what they're up to, and you just run a filter in through the top. I don't know. I'm spitballing, and I haven't got time to do it at the moment either, because I seem to do a very good job of making jobs for myself, don't I, Vic? I'm finding things to do and making jobs. So at some point, that's sat there ready to go. What would you do? Would you put shrimp in it and have like a little shrimp feature, or would you just go for like an ecosystem with mud, wood lice, like moss and stuff like that? Let me know in the comments. That'd be cool. Anyway, that's that. I'm going to take you to see the hydroponics I keep banging on about. There you go. There's our rainbow charge. Some of it's come up, some of it's a little bit slow to come up, and it's been in there for a week or two. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what's going on with it. I'm just leaving it, letting it keep going. It doesn't use a lot of power up. We've seen how rapid stuff grows in the spring and summer months in there. It just shoots up within like a day or two. But I'm just going to leave it to do its thing. And then if it takes, you know, this amount of time, we'll just wait till it gets a bit warmer before we do the next lot. Right, so I've not laid out where I want to put everything specifically in the allotment, but I have written down the bracket for sowing. So I've got cabbage. We won't be sowing until like between February and April. Turnips late March to June. These are everything. This is everything which is growing in the allotment. Cauliflower July to October. Pumpkins April to May. Peppers, it says February to April, but if you want to get a head start on them indoors, the best option is to grow them from Christmas time because they take a while to germinate, come up. So we'll be doing some of them later today. Cucumbers, February to May. Swede, May to June. The climbing French beans, now you can do these early, but you have to keep them under cover, and I haven't got the, I don't really want to stick them in the polytunnel, so we'll wait April to June. Peas, March till May. Leeks, January to April. I tend to put my leeks in a little bit later. Had success with doing that last year, so I'm going to stick to my plan. Sweet peas, January to May. Again, with the sweet peas, give them a while. I know a lot of people are desperate to get planting out and germinating seeds and everything, but sometimes you just got to hold back a bit. Sometimes it's just too early. The weather's too erratic. It's too cold. You can see with even the hydroponics, it's slow. Tomatoes, March to April. Again, when I put them in early around now, I find that they get a bit leggy, which means they come up and they kind of like shoot up and they get a little bit leggy. And I like big bushy tomato bushes. I'm not one for cutting them back. Last year I had a decent crop of tomatoes and I just kind of leave them to do their own thing. And in order to do that, I tend to plant them around March time. I've got my flowers organised. So poppy, larkspur, candy tuft, wallflower, that's Shire's flowers predominantly. March to May, April to July. Spring onions, March to May. Kale, May to June. Beetroot, April to July. Radish, February, September. Courgettes, I tend to put them in about April. They grow really fast and rapid, and they really don't like frost, cold weather. They like heat and warmth. We saw that by putting them in the allotment in September, and they were a bit miserable then. So yeah, kind of need that weather to be on the increase. Carrots, March to June. I need to directly sow them, so they'll be going in March, but we'll be making some soil drums. I'll share that with you. That's so that we don't get forked carrots. And they don't like a lot of, we'll discuss all this anyway, but they don't like really well rotted manure or compost, because in order for the carrots to grow in length, that root system needs to be grown, really working, searching its way down the soil, down the layers of soil to get to nutrients. So you don't want to, yeah, so we're going to be buying some old used mushroom compost probably to be doing that, and adding a bit of grit in it, not big lumps of stone and stuff, but like sand, just to keep it, yeah, anyway, blah blah blah. I always waffle on, don't I? Gherkin, cucumbers, March to June. Squash, March to May. That's a gherkin variety of cucumber which we use to pickle. I didn't get any out last year, but now I've got a polytunnel. I want to see what they do in there. Cabbage, your early cabbages, July, August. Cowberries, I've never grown them before. They're like a broccoli species, April to May. Celery, April to May. Eggplant, March to May. I'm only going to grow one. I just want to see if I can grow one in the polytunnel, if I'm honest with you. Beetroot, April to June. Spinach, March to April. Brussels sprouts, April. We're just going to grow a few because we're not massive eaters of them. But I just want to compare the taste to the shop bought. And onion seeds next year will be February to April. I planted in, and I always usually buy the bulbs, onion bulbs to put in. We did that around Christmas time. Next year I'm going to have a go at growing some from seed. But we'll see. Right, anyway, that's my little list. But I do need to go on and make a list, a plan of where things are going to go on that plot rotation. While I'm waffling on at home, I'm sharing a video this week on, I like sharing videos on Patreon of Aldi's, like the midlar. I just have a mooch. It's mostly because I dropped Shire off the rugby training and he don't really need me there. Obviously I support him at games and stuff. So he's been walking in with his mate and stuff. So I've just been wandering around Aldi's and I like looking at the midlar, and I thought, well, if I like it, other people might enjoy it. And we were in there yesterday having a mooch around and we picked up some containers. There's a lot of like, I think it's a January prepping month, isn't it? Getting organised after Christmas. So there was loads I could have bought, but I didn't. And Vicky needed some more containers for like putting her tuna mayo in when she makes them up and stuff like that. So you get 3 lots in here. I like the rubber on there so they don't slip and slide around in the fridge. You randomly get a white one in the middle. I don't know. But that usually does a couple of tins of tuna with some red onion and mayo. I picked them up. Didn't go mad. Didn't buy loads of stuff. Trying to save money. So I don't know if I've mentioned it on the channel, but we're off to Florida this year. First ever time going to America. Vicky's bucket list ticked off. Both of us have worked really hard to afford this trip. And it's going to be a trip of a lifetime. So we're just saving like mad to cover that. But these are dishwasher suitable, freezer safe. You can microwave safe, but you can't have the lid on for some reason. I think maybe to do with the plastic on the handles. But anyway, yeah, if you want to check it out, go on to Patreon. I'll stick it up there for people to have a little watch. Right, gonna have a cup of tea, gonna get my butt down the allotment. Right, so I've got 4 of these to put up. It says to put them up on wall plugs, but I don't know if we need wall plugs when we're putting it into wood. I wish I brought a pen with me. Do I have a pen? I seem to, oh, get right in front of the camera. I do have pens. So I think I'm going to put one here to hang tools on. Does it matter if it's completely straight, or do I get to claim that it adds character to the plot by having wonky stuff because I didn't bring my level? I have to play this back, but I wonder if you can hear the noise from people at the doing their rotivating. Might put some wood screws in. That might be a better idea. Yeah, one in there. One in there. Oh, drop me drill end. So the idea is we're going to put a load of shelves up. We can hang tools all along the side of the walls, which means we can leave this area free. And then if I go to a car boot sale this year and I find a lovely little rug, I'm going to buy a nice little rug to go in it. I really want an armchair as well, a second-hand armchair. Can you imagine that in the corner? I'll just come down and have a sleep. Vicky ringing me. Sorry, he's down the allotment a lot, doing a lot of work, and there's me snoring after I've had a cup of tea and read a bit of my gardening book. Right, so that goes through there, and then the washer is what's going to hold it in place. It's been a little bit faffy, but we'll get it in. Yeah, it is. That's going to be the trouble with these big screws. Need to think this through. But just cut them off, can I? Well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I want to get these up, but I don't want to have a dangerous bit of screw hanging out the back, especially when it's on the walkway side. Let's get these in, and then I'll cut them off at the back. Super sturdy. Right, so I've cut so it was basically the screw I'm using. So I'm using a wood screw because it was better than the screw it came with. I'll show you. I was using these galvanised wood screws because the stuff it came with is with a wall plug and like that, which is fine because that's what it's meant to do if you're putting it into an actual plasterboard wall, but we're not. So what I've done is I've secured that down, and that ain't going nowhere, and I cut it on the end. So then what I can do, look, this is such an amazing gift. I'm so chuffed with this. Thank you so much. Look at that. Proper impressed. What's next? I'll put another one up over on there as well. That is the trouble. I had a massive clear out. What's that? Is that a brolly? This as well. I don't think it's got the attachment with it though. Oh, it does as well. I could use that for fishing, can I? Excuse me. Might use that for fishing, you know. I'll take that with me to cover my fishing camera, my camera while I'm filming. All this bamboo and stuff will eventually go into the polytunnel. It'll probably be about March time that we put the polytunnel up. Stick them there out of the way. I'm going to hang that up there. Like so. So I've got an extra water butt. Go outside. That's the point. I need to remember to add a reminder to get a water butt connector so I can connect one to the other, because the water butt we've got at the moment is completely full. It's filled up already, but we have had a lot of rain, haven't we? So right. It's tangled up in string. Put that away properly. Yeah, I like the idea of having a little old armchair in here, because the place is watertight. A little retro rug and an armchair. And a better doorstop, because at the moment we're using an IKEA bag full of gravel. I'll show you. There's my doorstop, which is probably putting a lot of this sand and grit into the place, but we can get it all cleaned up. Right, the battery's completely conked out on me, which is my fault, because I didn't charge it properly. Lesson learned. Charge your batteries. That's where having that jackery would be really good. So I do need to invest in that, save up and invest in that, because that would be really handy just for keeping things charged. It's going to go like that anyway. I have all my tools along the back. Nice and organised. Can even put my brush there, look at that. That's what it looks like. That's what it's going to look like. And then I'll have one up there as well. And then I'll have all of this space down here free for my ultimate plan, which I decided today on a whim that I'm going to have a rug and an armchair to snooze in. I'm going to get a bit more organised, finish my tea, and then we're going to get the pepper plants, the seeds for the pepper plants sown. Right, so we're going to plant out our seeds. Just need to make a little bit of room. It's nice to have my big cooker, but it does get in the way a bit. I'm just going to brush these outside. I'm going to take these home, and these will be put on the windowsill. So I'm using some seed and cutting compost, which we picked up the other week when we grabbed all the manure. The only other thing I would be tempted to put out at the moment is the leeks, but I don't know. I planted them a bit later last year, so I think I might just wait and do the same this year, because I'm still harvesting. Like I said last week, I'm still harvesting the leeks. I've still got 1, 2, I can see out the window, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got about 9 left, and they're just quite happily sat in the ground over winter, and they are absolutely delicious compared to shop bought. Any little bits of stone or grit, just going to take out. There's a worm living in here. He can go into the garden. He's been living in that bag for God knows how long. Put that down nice and firm. Take off the stickers from last year's growing. Oh, I'm going to worry about that when I get home. These are coming home with me anyway. Quick tidy up. Now the beauty of filming this is I can put a label on when I get home and I can remember because I can watch the video while I'm editing. So I'm going to use the mixed F1 sweet peppers in the pink, and then I'm going to use this snack bite in the F1s in the green. I'll just show you what they look like. So those are the mixed, so like multicolored peppers, quite expensive in the shop, so I quite like growing peppers. I didn't grow chilies this year because I've got 2 chili plants. I've showed you already, but I'll show you again in a minute. And then I've got the snack bites, which look really nice for just snacking on. And then we got our chili plants from last year, which I'm trying to overwinter in the shed by cutting them back. This one doesn't look too happy. Might come back. This one looks a lot better, but we'll find out. It's an experiment. But I use a lot more peppers than chilies, hence why I'm growing the peppers. They don't always germinate that well, so what we're going to do is I'll use my little Lidl's pen to put the seeds in, and we're going to go so how many's that? 3, 6, 9, 12. We're going to put 12 in. If we've got 12 seeds, that is. I've got one left. Give that a water in a minute. Help if I covered them over, wouldn't it? That was silly. Loosely cover them over. So the living room's nice and warm, so they stay warm. They take their time to germinate, so we're just going to keep them moist. I'm going to put a little bit of rainwater on them in a minute, and then we're just going to keep them moist but not soaked, and we're going to keep them in the warm. And this gives them an extra bit of insulation anyway. So right, next lot. Remember this on the video so I can go back. Snack bite in green. I think we'll go the same. I want about 6 plants, so I'm sowing double the amount I need. I've seen on Facebook that some people are planting out like hundreds of them. I don't even know what I'd do with that many, but if all of them came up, I've got family and friends which I'll give the pepper plants to if they want them. So that's the way I look at it. And if I only end up with 2 or 3 germinating, then that'll be enough anyway. I can work with 2 or 3. Ideally I want 6 or 7, and if they all came through, I've got plenty to give away. Why is this so tricky to get into? It's not a lot of seeds in here. Wowzers. There's only 8. There's only 8 in here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. My stomach's growling. I need to get home and have dinner, lunch. I wonder if you can hear my stomach growling on video. Oh, there's a big old spider in the shed. I'll show you in a minute. She's trapped in a bucket. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cover them over. So I've only got 8 in there because that's how many seeds it came in. So hopefully they do a good job of germinating. But that's them done. Here's that big old spider, look. Got a bit of sunshine now. Go on, mate, off you go. It's quite big, look. My stomach's telling me it's time to go home for lunch, so I think I'm going to show you around quickly. So we've got the onions coming up lovely. These ones are doing really well. The garlic's still going strong. The leeks are still doing their thing. The rhubarb's coming up again. I think it dies off every time we have a frost, but you can see that coming through. We're still waiting on our strawberry plugs, our seed potatoes and our rhubarb crowns. But they should arrive soon. Big grey clouds over there and then sunshine trying to come through over there. I'm off fishing later on today, making good on my promise to upload lots of fishing videos to my second channel. I think next week when we come down here I'm gonna put up the lights. So I've got these solar lights which I can put up. Hide them somewhere in here. So I've got those solar lights, and I've got the new solar lights I showed you at the beginning of the video. So I think I'm going to put them up as well. So I'm just going to get both lots up and do a bit of weeding. I keep saying I'm going to do some weeding, but I'll get some weeding done. And that's all weather dependent, isn't it? But I can come back down here, finish putting up the shelves. I'm so happy with that. I'm going to see it as my thumbnail. Thanks again for that. It's a gift. Absolutely phenomenal. All the gifts I've been given us are so generous of you. I really do appreciate my community and everyone who's joined in on Patreon to support me. It's just been fantastic. It's been a great week, to be honest. I'm going to get on and do the next reading of the January chapter. I think we're 2 away from finishing January, so I should get it done in time, ready to start February in February, if that makes sense, because there's like 3 bits in each chapter, 3 to 4. So I'm going to get that on, going to get that done, going to get home, going to finish up week 3 on the January budget challenge, and I've got to get my butt down. Oh, actually, I'm just going to have a look. So at the time of checking, Aldi's just pipped Sainsbury's to the #1 in the vote on the poll for which shop I finished the challenge on. I thought I'd let the community do the decision, and it was between Lidl's I think Lidl's to start with was at the top, and then Sainsbury's spent a long time, and at the point of checking now, Aldi's is #1, top of the poll. So I'll be going to Aldi's later on to pick up the last of this month's challenge, and then I've got some really fun challenges coming up. I'm going to do another £1 a day, see if I can get that done without any foraging in 2026, because a lot of this stuff has gone up in price since Christmas. I've got van meals using my heated lunchbox, which I broke, which I'll share with you in the challenge on Tuesday, if you're watching this on upload. Disappointing, but my fault. I'll explain all anyway. And then I'm doing a KFC bucket challenge, where I think I can make meals for the evening meals for the week for a family of 4 for the price of a KFC bucket. I've been looking at working on chicken dinners for that, because some people are saying that all I do is vegetarian and vegan, which isn't true, but I can see your point, because meat's so expensive that I tend not to be able to afford it in these tighter budget challenges. So I've got all that coming up. A couple more Soup of the Weeks and then I'm done. End of January is the end of Soup of the Week. And then I've got an exciting one I'm doing. And I'm trying to make short videos as well to go alongside with the long videos. But I'm going to do £1 dinners. So feed a family of 4, £1 dinners. £1 per person for dinner. Making nice dinners. So go to Aldi's, go to Asda's, go to Sainsbury's, go wherever. Take £4. You've got to make dinner. A nice dinner with that £4. So I started planning it. I don't want to give too much away, but I'll be sharing that. I'm going to do the reading For those of you that enjoy it, for those of you who don't want to hear the reading, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being part of this community and this channel. Those of you who want it, I'm going to do the reading now. So we're still working our way through the Dig for Victory, and we're on Fruit Robbers, which is the second part of the January chapters. I want to talk about the fruit trees and the bushes for a few minutes today. They are not very interesting things to look at just now, and it is easy to forget them, but a little attention at this time of the year may save a lot of time and trouble when the busy season comes around, and perhaps make all the difference between a good crop and a bad one. Fruit trees, as you know, are subject to all sorts of troubles in the form of insect pests and diseases. Caterpillars chew up the leaves and ruin the trees for a season. Green flies suck out the lifeblood from the young shoots. Capsids disfigure the developing apples, and so on. They come like an invading army during the spring and summer, seeming to appear from nowhere, and before we know where we are, the trees and bushes are running alive with them. But where are they now? There used to be an old song called "Where Do Flies Go in the Winter Time?" I don't know whether it is ever satisfactorily answered, but let us see if we can answer it as far as the fruit tree pests are concerned. They are not all alike, of course, but broadly speaking, there are many similarities in their lives and habits. Take the winter moth as a fairly typical example. This is the parent of those little green caterpillars which make such a mess of the apple trees and sometimes the oaks as well in the spring. Those on the oaks are not quite the same species as those on the apples, but their habits are very similar. When the caterpillars are fully fed, they let themselves down on a thread. I dare say many of you have had one on your hat or on your shoulder, so you know what I mean. Having had a good bellyful of apple leaf, they feel like an after-dinner nap, so they crawl onto a cosy little corner of the turf or under some rubbish, spin themselves up into a weatherproof jacket or cocoon, and go to sleep till the end of summer. While they are asleep, a mysterious change takes place, and when they wake up, they must wonder what has happened to them, for instead of being green caterpillars, they are little brown moths. So they creep out and have a look around and soon find others like themselves. Then the boys fall in love with the girls, get married, and have a fine old time for a week or two. But it doesn't last long. They are a delicate little creature and can't live through the winter, but they always make provision for the next generation. The lady moth feels the urge to lay a few eggs before she dies, but she doesn't drop them just anywhere. She knows that in the spring they will hatch into little green caterpillars and will need some young apple leaves to feed on. Unfortunately, she can't fly. Her wings are not big enough, so she crawls up the apple tree and along a branch to the twigs where the buds are. There she lays her eggs and glues them to the twigs near the buds, so that when they hatch in the spring, the buds will be bursting into leaf, and the little caterpillars will find their breakfast all ready for them. Then, having finished her life's work, she dies, and a tomtit eats her. But the eggs are there, and there they will remain till the warmth of spring wakes them into a new life again. It's all very wonderful game, but how is the gardener going to stop it? He has three chances. First, to prevent the eggs being laid. This is not easy, but it can partly be done by putting grease bands like fly papers around the trunks of trees in September to catch them off as she crawls up the tree. His second chance is to destroy the eggs on the twigs during the dormant season, and his third is to poison the caterpillars after they hatched out and are feeding on leaves. Obviously the first two are the most satisfactory because they are preventatives applied before the damage is done, and also applied during the slack season instead of the busy one. It's too late now to talk about grease bands. They were or should have been put on the trees in September. If they were, they would probably caught a good many moths, but they may have been caught a good many falling leaves during the autumn, which can easily form bridges over the sticky surface. Certain moths are still crawling up the trees, so it would be worthwhile to have a look at these bands, pick off the leaves and stir up the grease a bit. But in spite of these bands, a good many moths manage to get up the trees and lay their eggs. It is thought that the flying male often carries a female with him. In any case, it is fairly safe to assume that there are eggs on the trees. Not only of these moths, but of aphids and other destructive insects, and now is the time to do something about it. These tiny eggs are rather a tough proposition, and one of the problems of spraying has always been to find a chemical preparation strong enough to destroy the eggs or insects without injuring the trees themselves. Perhaps the best of all known washes for this purpose is known as tar oil or tar distillate winter wash. This is a tarry preparation which you merely add to water and it makes a whitish emulsion, which much like the well-known disinfectants, and it is not unpleasant stuff to use. You can buy it under various trade names or simply as tar oil winter wash. Most horticultural chemists and sundersmen know what it is and will supply you with one or the other of well-known brands. You simply dilute it with the water, the strength of 1 part of neat fluid to 12 parts of water, or as directed by the makers, and spray the trees thoroughly through all over from the top to the bottom. Drive it well into the crevices of the bark so that no part of the tree escapes, and will it not only destroy eggs and any inhabiting insects will be made, which may be tucked into the corners, but it will clean off moss and rubbish and brighten up the bark. You can spray all the fruit trees and bushes, and while you are about it, do the hedges and fences and rose pergolas, anything except evergreens and plants with green leaves on, such as green vegetables, because it burns leaves and tenders growth, and must only be used this time of the year while the trees are quite dormant. You must choose a quiet day too. If you try to do it with the wind blowing, you'll get it all over yourself and the next door washing. We don't get many quiet dry days in January, so don't miss the opportunity if you get one. You can usually spray up to the middle of February. After that, you'll have to be careful in case the buds are getting tender. I heard recently of a gardener who used it in mistake for another wash in March when the buds were beginning to swell. For some time there was no sign of life and he was afraid he'd killed the tree. Then, lo and behold, in late May the buds burst out into blossom, and whereas the blossoms on neighbouring trees had cut by the late frost, his escaped and he had a heavy crop. So he thought he had made a useful discovery, that tar oil had merely retarded growth and delayed blossoming. And he wondered if he should make it a regular practice. Well, I certainly shouldn't. I consider it much too dangerous an experiment. It might come off once or twice or even more, but on the other hand, it might not. It is better to regard tar oil winter wash as a purely winter dormant season wash and keep it away from those tender growths. Don't use it during wet or frosty weather, and while you're about it, give the currants and gooseberries a good doing too. I know the difficulties of spraying in ordinary gardens. It means buying a syringe or borrowing one from a stirrup pump, but it doesn't take long and it really is worthwhile. If I could only manage one spraying operation during the year, this would be the one. It may save any amount of trouble during the growing season. There are 2 nasty fruit pests. Those eggs seem to be proof against tar oil wash, but fortunately you don't find them everywhere. One is the capsid bug, a green insect which punctures the growing apples and sucks the sap out of them, leaving a lot of ugly wart-like marks all over them, which quite spoil the look of a good apple. The other is a red spider, a tiny, almost microscopic spider, which breeds like fury all over the leaves and sucks the vital sap out of them. You see it at its worst on the wall trees in dry summer. Then the leaves turn grey and drop off, and the trees look and probably feels very sick indeed. Both capsid and red spider leave their eggs on the twigs during winter. Only the other day I found thousands of red spider eggs all along the twigs of a peach tree. They are almost too small to see without a glass, but you can often find them if you search carefully. They are red. Unfortunately, tar oil wash doesn't destroy them. Some growers actually maintain that it does them good. This is probably because it destroys certain other insects which naturally prey on the spiders or the eggs. If you have a reason to think that your trees are infected with either capsid or spider, the best wash is a petroleum emulsion, sometimes called white oil emulsion, diluted into the same way as tar oil and sprayed during the first half of February. A pest which is very destructive to blackcurrant bushes is a big bug. I dare say you know it well. It is caused by thousands of tiny little insects called mites, which are too small to be seen with the naked eye, to get into the buds and disorganise them, so that instead of behaving as normal buds, they swell up into round balls and eventually die. You can't do much about them now except pick them off and burn every one you can find, or if a bush is badly infested, grub it right out and burn every bit of it. I may be wrong and I wouldn't care to put it forward as a proved remedy, but I am under the impression that the annual spraying with tar oil wash goes a long way towards checking the spread of this pest. Certainly where I have given them a good dousing with it, and a big bud has much less in evidence, but of course it might be coincidence. At any rate, it is worth doing if only to keep the bushes free of aphids? I wonder if you had any attack of mildew on the gooseberries last year. You would know it if you did, because American gooseberry mildew is one of the worst of the gooseberry troubles. It covers the shoots and the berries with patches of greyish substance, almost like fur or felt, and quite spoils the crop. Anyway, have a look at the bushes now, and you may find that the tips of the shoots, or some of them, are twisted or crippled and stained a darkish colour, perhaps only about an inch or so at the ends. It may be caused by aphids, but it could also be the result of mildew. But whatever the cause, it is a good plan to cut all these crippled tips off now and burn them. Don't just let them drop on the ground and leave them there. This prunes the bushes, and at the same time, and it's about all the pruning a healthy gooseberry bush needs, except perhaps for the thinning out of a few of the older branches. There are a lot of fancy methods of pruning gooseberries, and I dare say there is something to be said for them. But for my part, I always say that if you keep a bush thinned out enough to get your hands comfortably between the branches and gather fruit, no further pruning is necessary. The annual cutting back of young shoots simply builds up a thicket of unfruitful growth, so you have to nip the crippled ends off, cut them just below the damage, and leave the rest of the shoot intact. Just a word about suckers before we go. I am often told that fancy varieties of lilac gradually revert to the common lilac. You see the same thing in many flowering shrubs such as the fancy viburnums and even fruit trees and roses. You start with a special variety, and in a few years' time it has turned out to be the common or wild type. Any gardener, of course, could tell you that the reason for this is it's because the special variety has been grafted or budded onto a common variety, and very often young shoots known as suckers spring up directly from the rootstock below the point where the bush has been grafted or budded. These will of course be the common variety, and if allowed to grow they will take all the energy from the roots, and the variety which was grafted onto it gets starved and gradually dies, while the suckers from the below flourish and begin to flower. Well, you mustn't let them. Every sucker from the base of the plant, whether lilac, rose, plum or anything else it has been grafted or budded, should be chopped out as soon as they are noticed, or they will surely rob the plant and get upper hand. Next week we're going to read the next part, so the last part of the January chapter, which is called The Elusive Onion. Now I understand the need for tar wash and petroleum wash during the wartime, when every bit of food was so important for the country, the nation as it stood. I won't be doing any of that. I take a lot from this book, especially the planning of the plot from last week's chapter part, getting organised for the growing season. But there's certain things where you have to say, no, those times are done. And for me, that is, I do remember actually though, my nan used to put grease paper around the bottom of her apple tree in her garden. So I was always fascinated as a kid because there'd always be bugs there, and I was always looking at the bugs. I didn't realise that was for the moths which attack the apples. And keep an eye on our apple tree, because this year will be the first year we see the apple tree grow properly, and that might be a way of putting something around it, because I certainly won't be spraying anything on my allotment. I want it to be predominantly organic. Actually, I want it to be organic, but there are ways of controlling pests which we discuss in the spring months, be it beer traps for slugs and snails, copper wiring around plants, and then you've obviously got your netting, stuff like that. But we'll discuss that, and when we get to it. But I won't be spraying anything, and I won't be putting anything down like slug pellets and stuff like that. I just don't agree with it. I don't think it's necessary. I'd rather lose a few crops and learn along the way and share with nature than go in, especially with like the tar wash, just washing everything. If it destroys and burns leaves and kills all the pests, you're destroying the balance of the ecosystem. And it mentioned it in that chapter. He said that sometimes it benefits certain species because the rest die, and the ones which manage to survive, albeit in a crevice which didn't get treated, they don't have anything predating on them. So you're not just taking away the pests, you're taking away the predators which eat the pests, like wasps. Everyone hates on wasps, but I've watched wasps, I've filmed wasps. They fly down, take a caterpillar, kill it, roll it up, take it back to the nest. We need wasps just as much as we need bees, and people don't like wasps. They've got a real bad rep, but they're really important for the ecosystem, controlling pests. They eat aphids, they eat caterpillars. they're really good at cleaning up the allotment. So for one, encourage wasps just as much. That's not saying I want a wasp nest in my shed. That's a different matter. Well, I don't want a wasp in my beer when I'm sat in the pub garden. But we need to find ways to go with nature. Anyway, that's a lot of waffling, isn't it? I hope you enjoyed today's video. It's a fun activity to try and plan out and get excited for what you're growing for the coming year. Going through the seeds this week, I did it in the evening when I wrote down the list of things I wanted to grow. Going through, getting excited, wondering what your crops are going to be like. You know, this is the first full year on the allotment because we took it on autumn time, cleared a lot out. Obviously, we've had leeks and stuff like that come out, which has been fantastic. We've had some courgettes and stuff like that. Last minute courgettes from the end of the season when we moved from the old allotment to here. So there's lots to get excited for, lots to plan. Going forwards on these Sundays, if you want to see me share more stuff, like the stuff I get from my Amazon wish list, the stuff I'm doing at home, if you just want a little bit more insight on what I'm up to, I'm really happy to take you along. Just let you know what we're up to on the weekend. Like, it is predominantly an allotment vlog, but if you want a daily life vlog, like a week of vlog, what we've been up to, I'm more than happy to share that. A couple of comments from the last one. I know a lot of you are enjoying these videos, and I thank you so much for building my confidence up with the reading, because I have mentioned it with my dyslexia. I was a bit self-conscious, but the more I do it, the more confident I get, and the fact that people are receiving it, and even if you're just saying it to be kind, it makes me feel better about it. So I really enjoyed it, and actually reading it out loud has got to the point where I'm actually absorbing things a bit better. So I've actually started reading to myself at home, much to Vicky's annoyance. But yeah, that's one of the comments that's come up. A lot of people saying that you've taken on an allotment this year, asking for tips and advice. So here's a couple of bits of advice. Take it easy, take it slow, don't rush into things. You don't need to get everything done in one day. I see a lot of people do what I did when I first took on allotment, and you get all these plans written down, and then you come down here and you try and dig the whole plot over, and your back hurts, you ache, you're tired, you know, and you get a little bit deflated, and especially if you don't get it all done, and you have all these jobs and all these things you want to do. And the best bit of advice I can give you is take a step back and enjoy the process. I think I've shown that through this series. So if you are new to get an allotment, jump in from the very beginning of this series where I took on an allotment. I didn't clear it all in one go, especially down this plot. I did sections. We did the last section last week, and we took it on in autumn. So I do a little bit at a time, and if it's raining, I'll find other jobs to do. And if it's raining and I don't have any other jobs to do, I'll sit down and do some planning. Get yourself some books, get online, have a read. It's getting a bit noisy here now, but just don't overdo it. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. And don't feel like you have to grow everything and you have to have this abundant growing plot with all these fancy things growing in it and all these different varieties. Which leads me on to my second tip. This is probably the last tip, but if you want to email me for some advice and go for it, I'm still learning. I know a few things, and I'm very honest on this channel and say, with this channel, I'm learning gardening, I'm learning growing. I've been doing all right for the last few years. It's all been trial and error, listening to other people's advice, but I'm still learning. Every year is a learning curve. Every year we either make mistakes and we grow something we don't want to eat, or we grow something, too many of something. Courgettes being one of them. Sometimes we put too many in. But that is it. That is my other bit of advice. Grow what you eat. Grow what you eat. Grow what you enjoy, and then you will find the benefit from it. Because if you go through the growing manuals and the growing books, or you go online to forums and people say, "Oh, you should be growing this, should be growing that." If you're not going to eat it, it's a waste. It's a waste of space on the plot. It's a waste of your time and effort. And then you're going to, on top of that, feel bad because you're throwing stuff away. It's just rotting and staying on the plant. So yeah, 2 bits of advice. Just take your time. Enjoy the process. Each week, do a little bit as you go. If you need a week off, have a week off. Do that now, because in spring, it's very busy and you will need to be down here once or twice. I only come down once or twice in the summer, and I come down once a week during the winter. And if I've gone on holiday, then it is what it is. I hope that was all right. I hope that advice is okay. I don't tend to try and give advice so much because I always feel like I'm one-on-one learning while sharing what I'm learning as opposed to teaching. But this spring I'll do a load more videos on like different things from like planting, growing, like we did with planting up, potting up the peppers and stuff like that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you everyone who got on that Amazon wish list and ordered me some stuff. I'm unbelievably appreciative. I can't say how appreciative I am. I can't really put into words how much I appreciate everyone. Thank you everyone who watches these videos. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like. Share it with someone else who might enjoy my waffling on, and reach out to me in the comments. I am keeping up with the comments as much as possible. Obviously, understandably, I get a lot more comments now. But every moment I get, I sit down, I'll answer a few comments, get in touch with you guys. I love hearing from you guys. Jump on my Patreon, jump on my Discord. Discord's another community where you can share your stuff, your growing, your recipes, everything like that. It's free. It's run by two incredibly kind community members who do a lot of the work running it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.